Hello, my darlings! Today we're going to talk about not throwing poison in your own well. Now, what do I mean by that? If you haven't noticed, the millennial generation has a tendency towards self-deprecating humor, to put it lightly. Now, in general, not everyone does this, but in general, people in my generation, when we talk about things we love in media, whether it be books or movies or TV shows or etc., we tend to describe ourselves as trash or garbage when we're fans of a thing. Another thing my friends and I do is when we are talking about a skill set we have not yet acquired, or it's just something we're not very good at in general, we have a tendency to make fun of ourselves, saying like, this sucks, and we have a tendency to kind of pick and poke at our own flaws. And that's all fine and dandy. Absolutely, self-deprecating humor has its place. But I feel like more and more people don't know where that line is, and they too often cross it. I, especially for a long time, was very, very guilty of this. The problem with saying those things, as often as people do, is eventually we start to believe it. We do start to believe on some level, whether or not we know it, that we are bad for liking the things that we like, that we're somehow, basic or lesser for liking more mainstream things, or weird for liking more off-the-cuff things, that we really are just destined to be bad at something if we don't start out being very good. I guess what I'm getting at is, I want people to like common things and be able to be bad at things, because that's the only way we learn about ourselves and about the world. If there's anything valuable I've learned at my time at Flagler, it's two things. That I have permission to suck, and that it's okay to say that I have not yet acquired the skill, which came from my professors Kip and Paul. I took musical theater duets with Kip in the fall of last year, and I remember going to this class where I knew no one, and I was so intimidated. I hadn't made it into the musical that year, for the third year in a row, and I just remember thinking, this is terrifying. I will have to sing in front of people, even though that is the whole reason I signed up for that class in the first place. And the first thing Kip said to us on the second day, because the first day was a syllabus class, was that we had permission to suck. We had permission to be bad. He told us, I just want you guys to be brave and make strong choices, and if they're not good ones, that's okay. You're learning. And that's an actor's life, is to always be curious and be trying and be learning. I have not yet acquired the skill came from Paul and taking his intro to theatrical design class this past spring. And part of our homework in his class was we would have to do 3 sketches every week. I'm not the best drawer in the world. I will be the first one to admit that. My arts are more language-based. They always will be. But Paul told us on the first day, because so much of that class was learning how to design a set, and first you had to learn how to do a concept paper. And the first thing Paul told us was, I never want to hear you say, I can't, or I don't know how. The thing I want you to say is, I have not yet acquired the skill. And every time one of us would say, I can't, or I'm not good, you should, Paul will, he will pierce you. He's not afraid of anybody. I love Paul. But he would look at us and we would immediately correct ourselves and say, I have not yet acquired the skill to. Like I said, we had to maintain a sketchbook. So I started drawing one of my favorite characters from one of my new favorite shows. I was drawing Jim from Troll Hunters, and if you look it up, one of his promotional images is him holding his amulet. So I tried to emulate that drawing, and it's not the best drawing in the world because I'm still learning how to do fingers. Fingers are hard, guys. They're so hard. But I remember sitting in his class and talking about the sketch and him shaking his head because he doesn't like troll hunters, but oh well. Him and me saying, I've not yet acquired the skill to draw hands, but I'm learning how. And just the wonders repeating that as a mantra to myself this past year has done for my self-confidence. Being in a voice class and knowing I have permission to not be that good because my friends and my professor, Brock Kemp, aren't expecting me to be good. Or they were expecting me to be good, but if I wasn't, it wasn't like, well, you're terrible and you're never going to be good enough for this, which is what the voices in my head have always been telling me. If you're not good at it the second you want to be, you're never going to be, and that's not true. Anything worth having in life, you are going to be bad at it first. It's like that thing they say in Adventure Time, that sucking at something is the first step into being kind of good at something. And that was another thing I carried with me. Knowing that at this school I have permission to not be very good at something and to be honest and say I have not yet acquired the skill, but dang it, I'm willing to learn. And really, as an actor, I've gotten, and as a theater artist, I've gotten so much better at what I do once I've started giving myself the grace to be bad at things. And I've liked myself so much more as a person once I've given myself the okay to like what I like and like it out loud and not be afraid. And I like who I am so much better than I did even just a year ago. I think about, 17, 18-year-old me and how much she didn't really like herself at all. At all. And it's because I spent so much time, wasted so much time, throwing poison into my own well, always telling myself I'm never gonna be good enough. You're never gonna be good enough. I'm never gonna be good enough. That no one's gonna care, or I'm not gonna matter. And that's just not true. I have permission to fall and to stumble and to learn. And I don't have to keep throwing that poison into my own well anymore. And I think that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, is you start being happier. For some people, and this doesn't work for everyone, and I understand that, but you start being happier when you stop throwing poison in your own well. Tell yourself it's okay to screw up and to fall flat on your face and to make mistakes, because that's how you grow and how you learn. And if there's anything I could tell that sad 17-year-old and all the sad 17-year-olds out there, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to make mistakes. Just don't beat yourself up over it. And it's okay to be a little offbeat and a little different. It's alright. Someone will appreciate that. I have not yet acquired the skills to be the best visual artist in the world. But I did make this. And I'm so proud of this, and this is like the third time I've sketched this. And I don't want to tell you what it is because I haven't decided if I want anything to do with what I want it to be or not. But that drawing is just a manifestation of who I've become. I have started to believe that it is okay to screw up, that it is okay to fall and to stumble and to not be good at things right away. There's no need to beat myself up over it. So please, guys, don't throw poison in your own well. You'll be a lot happier for it. So now I'd like to hear from you. In what ways do you throw poison into your own well, and in what ways do you want to overcome that? I'd like to hear about it, and I definitely want to be on your side through it. Y'all mean the world to me, whether I know you or not. You are important, and you deserve to be here. I mean, you know the drill. Watch the spiel every week. But I love you all, and I hope you have a nice night.